Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this $950 mini ITX gaming PC all booted up and ready to go, let's talk about those benchmarks real quick. Now, we decided to test this PC in a handful of titles, those being Apex Legends, Forza Horizon 5, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Warzone, and Halo Infinite. First up in Apex Legends at 1080p on medium-low settings, we end up averaging 100 plus FPS. This is where we start to see the RTX 3050 perform very well. We're really satisfied with this GPU right now. Pricing is a little bit out there considering it's, well, the GPU market we're in right now, but if you're able to snag one in something like a Newegg Shuffle at its MSRP, I think it's an absolutely amazing card right now given the new market standards and what things are going for. And Apex Legends is a very GPU dependent game, and getting 100 plus FPS shows the 3050 is up to the task. Next up in Forza Horizon 5 on high settings at 1080p, once again we see that 3050 shine and we get 90 FPS. I really do think the pairing of the 3050 and i5-10400 make a lot of sense. I know there's 12th gen out there, and I know a lot of people recommend going 12th gen, which we did do a build on that with the 12100, and we do recommend that as well. Anything over the 12100 on 12th gen just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but regardless, the 10400 has the best bang for buck right now with the 6 cores and 12 threads to allow you to do some multi-threaded work, along with be able to handle any game you throw at it with this 3050 and another GPU upgrade in the future. I would comfortably put like an RTX 3070 with a 10400F and feel very happy with the performance. Next up in Shadow of the Tomb Raider on high settings using the built-in benchmark, we averaged 95 FPS. I really think on 1440p medium-low settings, you could get a 60 FPS experience with the RTX 3050. While I wouldn't really recommend it, I think this is more of a 1080p card. It does have those 8 gigs of VRAM, so you can stretch into higher resolutions just a little bit if you want to, but I really think lower settings, getting high refresh rate and running like a 144 or 165 Hz monitor is probably your best bet with this sort of build. Now, don't forget that RTX 3050 is definitely capable of some live streaming as well with that NVENC encoder. That's where it beats out the competition. Being able to live stream on a GPU at its price point right now with the 3000 series architecture, it's really hard to beat. Next up in Warzone at 1080p on medium-low settings, we average about 90 plus FPS, most of the time 100, but we did dip down to 90 here and there. You could run all low settings or a more performance-optimized settings to get a locked 100 FPS, but with the optimized drivers from NVIDIA and the fact that this 3050 has enough VRAM, 8 gigs of VRAM, and that the system has enough RAM, 16 gigs. As you can tell, we were approaching 16 gigs of usage, totally maxing this thing out. Kind of crazy to see that Warzone uses this much memory, but regardless, the 3050 and 10400 work absolutely amazing in this game. And the last game, of course, we have to test is Halo Infinite at 1080p medium settings, and we end up averaging 90 plus FPS. There's really nothing bad I can say about this system. It performs very well. $950 I think is a fair price point, and the fact that it's in a mini ITX enclosure that looks really clean in my opinion. Overall, I think it's a pretty awesome build for the money, and that's kind of why it's staying in the Toasty Bros office for another set for some rendering, and also a new person who's going to be joining some of our live streams here soon, so stay subscribed for that. And yeah, if you want to pick up in the parts of today's video, link in the description down below will be affiliate links, and they will help us out. How to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.